Test.
All right, folks, we are just 5 minutes away. 5 minutes away from the Black Wall Dueling Challenge. we are just about to start with the Black Wall Dueling Challenge as athletes line up.
Can't hear.
Yeah.
Where's really? I don't. They did something on their phone.
Do you, yeah, I think Willie should be in there.
All right.
All right, athletes are just about to start.
All right, and welcome to the finals this morning for the Gold Cup Series. We're starting off with the Black Wall Dueling Challenge. This is the second year of the Gold Cup hosting the Black Wall Dueling. It's intended to promote para-sculling in the United States. It's named after two icons in Philadelphia rowing, Christopher Blackwell and Fred Dooley. These events are open to female PR1, 2, and 3 athletes. Denise, can you tell us a little bit more about maybe some of the criteria of these athletes who are racing?
Yeah. So all athletes in the para categories have a physical or visual impairment. I believe we have athletes as far as West Side Rowing Club, CRI in Boston, Portland Boat Club, and Bear Island Aquatic Center.
All right, and the women are on the stake boats. It's lane 1 is Pearl Outlaw. She is a PR3 athlete. Lane 2 is Molly Moore, who is also a PR3 athlete. And lane 3 is Maddie Eberhard, and she is a PR2 athlete.
I think it's important to note that this is again a cash prize winning race. So that's really exciting to see that these athletes will get something in their pockets at the end of this.
Right, so as a reminder, first place is $8,000, second place is $6,000, and third place is $4,000. So these prizes are at parity with the Lotman race because the event is intended to provide financial support to elite domestic para-scullers who are planning to compete internationally in 2023. And because we have two different boat classes, there is a bit of a a staggered start. So we did see one of the athletes just start off, who I believe is Maddie Eberhard in the PR2.
And for those not familiar with PR2, Maddie is using a fixed seat.
All right, and both PR1 athletes, Pearl and Molly, are off the line as well. In lane 1, Pearl Outlaw is actually being followed by a motorboat, and that is because Pearl is a blind rower and she is actually using a remote rudder that is being controlled from the launch. So it looks like Pearl is about a length behind Molly Moore in lanes 1 and 2. Molly might be getting a little bit more open water, and the camera's just zoomed in to Maddie Eberhard. It looks like she's having a great row here.
Absolutely beautiful conditions here, really giving these athletes a chance to go at it without any fear of rough water or headwind or anything of that nature.
Yeah, for our fans who are local and at the venue, you can just see all three athletes coming into view. Molly Moore is making up the stagger, it appears. She is starting to close the ground between herself um, and Maddie. So this is really exciting, the race between Molly and Maddie as they're coming into the final portions of the race here.
That's one of the things that's exciting about this 750-meter race is the potential for tight finishes, and it looks like this first final is going to deliver that for us.
All right, let's hear it for our para athletes.
Yep.
Yeah, so we have Maddie of Westside Rowing, Pearl of Portland Boat Club, and Molly Moore of CRI up in Boston. All of them competed in this past summer's World Championships. They have strong international experience, so let's welcome them and start cheering as they approach the finish line here. It looks like we've got a tight race here, Jordan.
Absolutely. This is going to be a great finish. A beautiful day. Really incredible to see these athletes coming down the river.
Let them hear you, folks.
Looks
All
like
right,
we're about 10 strokes from the finish line here.
Lane 2, Molly Moore.
And Molly's just crossing now.
And then Maddie is following close behind.
Now
And then
remember,
Pearl Outlaw.
Maddie's a PR2 athlete. There's Pearl.
And Pearl's across.
And as a reminder, since we did have the mixed boat classes with the staggered start, we will be waiting for the officials to give us the formal times. But great racing and great lines from all three women.
Absolutely, Elle. That was a real thrill to see.
All right, and the next race will be at 10:45, and that is the male Blackwell Dueling Challenge. And who do we all have in that race, Jordan?
We have, looks like Andrew Mangan and Russell Gurnett. So two boat race. Both of these athletes competed at the 2022 World Rowing Championships. So looking forward to an exciting one.
All right, and starting in about 3 minutes is the men's final for the Blackwell Dueling Challenge. This is going to be a two-boat final with lane 1 having Andrew Mangan, who is a PR1 athlete, and in lane 2 is Russell Drenat, who is a PR2 athlete.
And for those unfamiliar with the classifications, PR1 athletes typically use their arms and shoulders, whereas PR2 athletes use their trunk and arms. Now this is typical, but regardless, both athletes will be racing using fixed seats in the boat. So their seats will not be sliding. Both athletes will be using fixed seats in the boat.
And similar to the women, there are cash prizes. So first place is $8,000 and second place is $6,000. So they are backed into their stake boats. They are working on getting their points. So they have a straight line down the course. Jordan, what are they thinking about in these last minute or two before the starting official starts to call them to the line and go through the starting sequence?
I've got to imagine that they're visualizing the race plan, taking a last few deep breaths to get some more oxygen into the system, and just really visualizing a positive result. The big thing here with these athletes being so reliant on arms, the amount of lactic acid that's likely to build up in their forearms is intense. So that's going to be something interesting to watch as they go forward. Just think about any time you've been out doing yard work or chopping wood or anything that involves a death grip, if you will, and how quickly your forearm seize up. That's what these athletes are going to be contending with during the 750-meter sprint. So I really feel for them in that sense.
Yeah, and Andrew is rowing for West Side Rowing Club. He placed 10th this summer at the World Rowing Championships, and Russell is representing Bear Island Aquatic Center, and he had a strong showing at Worlds as well, placing 5th in the PR2. He's also a Tokyo Olympian. He raced to a 10th place finish in the Tokyo Games last summer and the mixed PR2 double. And similar to the women's race, because there are two different boat classes racing, there is a staggered start, which the U.S. para rowing team worked to calculate that stagger for fairness and to ensure that it is a close race at the finish for these athletes.
Well, let's hope this works out in a similar manner to the women's race, where we do have a close finish here for all of us watching.
Yeah, so we're looking at Andrew right now. He's off to a strong start here. Very clean, good line.
Absolutely perfect conditions. No real wind to speak of. Just really giving these athletes a chance to shine in this beautiful sunlight. You can see the stroke rate has come down a little bit off of the start, and I think that has to do with what we were talking about earlier, just making sure to conserve some of the muscle strength in the forearms, because maintaining that cadence the entire 750 is probably not something that's going to be physically possible.
And something that's unique for these races, Jordan, people may have just seen on the video that there was a dock with a fixed launch on it, and that's because we have the race marshals at fixed points to make sure that there is no wake or there is no wash that could potentially impact these athletes' races, because there's a lot of money on the line for all of these races. We want to ensure fairness, so it's been great. Craig Hoffman is the regatta director, really giving a world-class experience here for all of these athletes today.
That's a really great point, Al. Those of us who've spent time on the river, I'm sure, have contended with the ill-advised wake here or there in their careers, and so the fact that that's not even a possibility is amazing. And here we can see these athletes are coming closer together. We're seeing the effects of the stagger calculation. So as they get closer and closer to us here at the finish line, this is going to be a nice tight finish.
Yeah, Russell's really picking up the stroke rate here. If you saw a little while back, though, it looked like there may have been a goose that was by his starboard side blade, but he seems to be, just keeping focused and pushing through stroke by stroke, so he recovered nicely from that, and he is about to make up the stagger, it looks like. So these are your Blackwell dueling competitors. Let's have the fans on site start to cheer them home here.
Yeah, really amazing. You never want to have a goose in your lane, but it looks like he actually used that shot of adrenaline to his benefit, and he's really bringing it home strong here. This is going to be a great finish.
Look at this tight race, folks.
Yeah, they are stroke for stroke right now.
Neither athlete giving way. Really strong minds and strong arms in this one. This is something to behold.
Yeah, the strength of these para rowers is just absolutely incredible. And it looks like Russell in lane 2 has nudged his boat ahead. It looks like it's maybe about a length, but actually Andrew is starting to pick up the tempo.
Here
And
we
he
go.
is
What a
walking
finish.
back, men and women. This is a race. Let's start to cheer them on. Who is going to cross their bow first?
Listen for this horn. It's going to be close.
It looks like lane 2 technically by about a half a length, but as we said with the stagger, we are going to leave it up to the timing officials to give us the official time and results.
Fantastic
Great
race,
racing.
ladies and gentlemen.
Great racing. Next up, we will have the Hoffman Challenge. We're starting to see the dock load up. You can see one of the Gold Cup athletes, Shuttle Borsch, on the dock right now, just doing some last minute adjustments to his blades as they start to get into their warm-up routine. They are the last race of the day, going off at 12:15 and 12:30 respectively.
So we've got about 25 minutes until our next race, which is the Hoffman Challenge, the girls race. We're going to see Sophia Stafford, Grace Moore, Molly McDonald, and Claire Lingle. It's an exciting opportunity for these high school athletes to compete in the same venue and over the same distance as their international and Olympic champion heroes.
And on the screens, we have the final times for the Blackwall Dueling Challenge for the men. In first place, we have Russell, the time of 4:01. Second place, and Andrew from West Side at 4:02. Very tight race there, gentlemen.
Really great effort. And as Elle mentioned, this is the second time that we've had these para athletes participate at the Gold Cup, and the racing has just gotten that much better in the second iteration. We expect to see similarly close finishes from the rest of these races coming down the course.
Yeah, very exciting. And you can see them in the cool down area, probably exchanging some post-race words with each other, thanking each other for that effort and that great competition. That was a really fun race to watch, and it's an indicator of what's still to come for the rest of the day here.
We've got a little extra time in between the races here just to get everything set up. But about 15 minutes now, we'll be starting the Hoffman Challenge Girls Race. So hang tight, and we're going to see some more great racing starting in about 15 minutes with the Hoffman Challenge Girls Race.
attention, Gold Cup finalists. So Tara, Caroline, Emma, Hannah, Graham, Ollie, Melvin, and Shettle, please meet in front of the Hudson boat trailer for a referee meeting right now. Thank you.
And in just under 5 minutes, we'll be starting the Hoffman Challenge for girls. Looks like we had a little bit of wind, but it seems to have settled back down, so looking forward to another great race. All right, we can see that the athletes are locked onto the stake boats, just getting their lines, taking a last few deep breaths, trying to get in the zone, getting ready to execute their race plans here.
So this is the Hoffman girls final. So in lane 1 we have Sophia Stafford of South Jersey Rowing. In lane 2, Grace Moore of Newport Rowing. In lane 3, Molly McDonnell of South Jersey. And in lane 4, Claire Lingle of Agnes Irwin.
So these athletes have likely seen each other around the local scholastic circuit, but this is certainly going to be the first time that they've actually competed in a 750-meter dash. Just as a quick reminder, the typical race distance at the international level is 2,000 meters. Sometimes in high school you can see a 1,500-meter race. This is considerably shorter at 750 meters, so it taxes the body and taxes the mind a little bit differently than some of those longer pieces where you might be looking to settle into a nice base rhythm. This is all about power, maybe a little bit of finesse probably helps, but we'll see, and should be some close finish.
Yeah, so these women actually raced earlier this morning for people who have been with us since around 8:30. They qualified from a time trial, so they already have around 650 meters of sprinting under their belt, so they have qualified to be here in this final. They have earned their lanes. They are taking the line, and we also probably want to acknowledge some of the sponsors that we've had supporting these racers, like Swing Ventures, IRM, which is International Raw Materials, Morgan Stanley, and the Haverford School Crew alumni. Thank you for your sponsorship.
Looks like their blades are set. We're going to get a start any second now. And they're off.
It's a pretty clean start from all 4 women.
Absolutely. A lot of power getting put into the river here. These athletes will probably look to settle as much as they're going to within the first 20 strokes. You can see beautiful drone footage, a little bit of a headwind out there. You can see the ripple on the water, but certainly nothing that's going to impact these results.
Now remember, folks, from the time trials, the top 4 finishers finished within just a few seconds of each other.
Right, this is going to be tight racing, and as we said, every stroke counts here. They have to be on it. If they have a little bit of issue with their blade work, there's not a lot of room for error because of the short distance, but it does look like...
Looks like Molly McDonnell's taking it out strong.
Yeah. Got about 3/4 of a boat length on second place.
While Sophia Stafford and Grace Moore are staying tight together, we're going to find out if Molly's aggressive start gets a little bit of lactic acid buildup. She takes a quick look across, keep an eye on her competitors, trying to keep them off her stern. But so far, looks like the top 3 remain in contact with one another.
Yeah, having all of those boats connected with each other, that's really nice. It's going to be exciting racing, and for people who are live on site, you can start to see these girls come into view.
Doesn't look like the position has changed much, Elle. Still in contact, but trying to make an impression. Lanes 1 and 2 trying to make an impression on lane 3, but doesn't look like they're able to do it. Molly can probably hear the crowd. She can sense the finish. We'll see if we can bring her home.
Let's let them hear you, folks.
Yeah, South Jersey, this is Molly's home course. She trains here. I'm sure she really wants to take this win. And just some beautiful blade work from here, just looking nice, long, and controlled.
Yeah, still looks like it's bow on stern between Molly and Sophia, but maybe Sophia's getting a little bit in there. Tough to say if it's an angle from the drone, but we can see it live here. This is going to be a close finish.
Yeah. Molly is commanding from South Jersey, followed by her teammate Sophia, with Grace Moore of Newport rowing coming up in third. But this is some tight racing here.
Under 10 strokes to go.
Look at that race between South Jersey and Newport in lanes 1 and 2. They are surging. They are popping up the rink.
Molly's
they are
looking
fighting
across.
for second. The race is for second here, folks. Anyone's game.
Great race.
Yeah. Fabulous racing, women. And Claire Lingle bringing it home as well. Very strong effort.
Boy, that was an exciting preview of what we're going to see with these final races coming through. We're going to get the time soon, but as we all just saw, that was a tight finish, really well rowed by all 4 competitors.
And there we are, the final times for the girls' final of the Hoffman Challenge. We have Molly McDonald at 3 minutes and 9 seconds. As you can see, second and third place, just 3 3/10 of a second of difference between second and third place. Nice job, ladies.
And I'm sure they'll look forward to seeing each other at other competitions as winter training sets in now, but then we can get back to the spring. We're going to see more of this from them. All local competitors, bragging rights for certain, but that's going to be fun for them.
Well, I'm sure some of them may be turning around and seeing each other as early as tomorrow in the youth single at Head of the Schuylkill, except that will be over around 4 kilometers, so a little bit longer, but hopefully they get to pick up this racing again tomorrow in short time just over the other side of the bridge in Philadelphia.
It's a great point, Al. That's one of the fun things about this sport is that there are myriad distances, and in the fall, the 3-mile races, a little bit more of a festive atmosphere than the spring racing season, perhaps, but definitely different tactics involved. So it's a lot of fun to challenge yourself. So in just about 10 minutes, we're going to have the Hoffman Challenge for high school boys. We're going to have Evan Wang, Reed Eddy, Sam Submarinium, and Joseph Savell.
Right.
Those of you looking at the dock can see it looks like one of the competitors for this next race had an equipment issue. We are going to quickly sub out that boat and get him back out on the water, and then we're going to get the competition going, hopefully not too far behind schedule. We'll keep you posted. So again, once this race gets going, it's going to be Evan Wang, Reed Eddy, Sam Subramaniam, and Joseph Savell. So it's going to be more great racing. We're really excited to bring it down along with these athletes. Hopefully, add some color. Elle tells me I just feel noise, but we'll find out.
So Jordan, why don't you give some perspective here? So there's an equipment issue, which we understand that happened. So there's probably the athlete who's experienced the equipment. How does he stay calm, as well as the other athletes? This is something that they can't quite control. How do they stay calm? How do they stay loose as they approach their race?
Yeah, Elle, that's a great point. Really keeping your head in the race moment is difficult when you've had an unexpected issue. It looked like something happened with one of the oar locks, and so that's obviously a surprise. You typically get a pretty good shot of adrenaline. You get a little bit excited. Your heart rate goes up. It's really important to try to bring it back down to a calm level, regain your center once again, and then go out there and execute. And you can see that there's a new boat has been brought in. Looks like he's getting his oars. He's getting ready to go back down, head up to the start line to join these other athletes. And I think that's another important point, is that these other athletes thought they'd be getting ready to race now, and it's a little bit different for them in terms of the warm-up. So it's really about managing your emotions, using this to be perhaps a little extra motivation, but also being able to bring it back to your pre-race routine so that you can go out and execute in the way that you want to.
All right, Denise, as a coach, you have a lot of coaching experience. What would you be telling your athlete right now, as it looks like he may be going into a new boat that maybe he hasn't had a lot of time to row in?
That's a great question, Elle. I think really just keeping that laser focus, as this is the final, as this is what he has qualified for from this morning. And we want to make sure that every intention that he set out from this morning is executed, like Jordan said, in every stroke on this very, very short race course where every stroke matters. There's more people now.
While we've got a little time, we would be remiss not to highlight that this is the Hoffman Challenge, and this is named in honor of Coach Craig Hoffman, who is here on site, ensuring that this competition runs smoothly. Craig has spent many decades coaching junior rowing athletes in year-round competition. He is one of the most successful and recognized sculling coaches in the country. And as one could probably guess, the purpose of the Hoffman Challenge is to highlight boys and girls junior single sculling. At the junior level, it tends to be a bit of a sweep focus, which is using one oar in the bigger boats, either a 4 or an 8. And Craig, as well as other coaches in the country, have recognized that introducing sculling gets a little bit better boat feel and perhaps could lead to better competitiveness as these athletes progress along them in their careers, not just in college, but potentially even internationally.
Yeah, you can see upriver that some of the other Hoffman Challenge boys, so Evan, Sam, and Joseph, they are taking some strokes in their respective lanes as they wait for Reed Eddy to join them. They're just trying to stay loose, stay relaxed, keep focus, and maintain a pre-race routine despite this little bit of delay. It's something that most rowers are a bit familiar with, so they do have a plan, and they're just going back to their warm-up routine, going back to that focus and that mental preparation here.
Looks like they're working on setting up this new boat to Reed's specifications, maybe taking a little bit longer than anticipated, but this race will be underway before too long. Just picking up on Elle's comment, a popular idiom with rowing is hurry up and wait. So that is a sport that occurs outside. There's all kinds of things that can pop up to cause a slight delay when you're ready to go. And so this actually could prove to be a good learning experience for all 4 of these scullers, just as they continue with their careers. They're going to see a number of different presentations, if you will, before the starts of races. So if they can use this to stay collected, stay within themselves, and then get out there and execute, this will actually be time well spent.
And it's quite fortunate the conditions are perfect, especially in one of those hurry up and wait situations. At times the concern can be if there is extreme heat or cold weather or precipitation, how you handle that. But this is really ideal weather to be doing that. And as you can see dockside, some of the Gold Cup elite athletes are starting to bring their equipment down. You can see the Aussie Tara Rigney, it's on the dock. She might be launching early to get in a good solid warm-up. Those Gold Cup athletes, which we'll get to in a little bit, they have quite a large prize purse on the line. So they are very focused right now in their routines and preparation.
Absolutely, and it looks like our last competitor, Reed, is heading up to the start line. Reed Eddy, so he's looking good. Looks like that new boat is suiting him well. So we're excited to see this race come down the course shortly.
Right, and what will be important for Reed, which I'm sure his coach was just going over with him, is stay calm, don't rush up to the start, get in a warm-up. You want to keep your heart rate as controlled and measured as you possibly can, conserve that energy for the race. So he's going to get in a swing and some power strokes before joining Evan Wang from the Haverford School, Sam Subramanian from Brunswick School as well, and Joseph Savell of Haddon Township.
think one of the things that we've been talking about, and maybe Denise, you can pick up on this as a coach. I will tell you, when I rode back in the Stone Ages, there was basically no focus at all on the mental aspect of it. It was really just sort of euphemistically said, "Go show you're mentally tough," which it doesn't really help you in the moment. Can you talk a little bit about some of the new mental game focus that you work on with your athletes?
Well, I think there's a lot of credit to be given to the youth coaches who put as much emphasis on the mental challenges of the sport as well as the physical challenges. And I have seen in the last 10 plus years of coaching that shift in resilience, that shift in focus, because we want to make sure that our athletes, especially the younger ones, are developing as strong mentally as they are physically. And I think, Jordan, you touched on before the long-term athlete development and the benefits of sculling as a young rower and how beneficial that could be in the long term. So very much crediting the youth coaches out there who are behind each and every one of our rowers out here today.
Yeah, that's a great point, Denise. And even earlier this week, some of the Gold Cup athletes went to visit a local company in Philadelphia, Glenmead, who is one of the sponsors of today's race. And those elite international athletes were talking about mental development and also working through mental issues, whether it's COVID or training, but the idea as well that motivation and willpower, they have their limits, and you have to avoid that line of when you go into burnout, which I think is relatable to people both on and off the water and is something that everyone has dealt with, and the importance of maintaining healthy boundaries and focus.
Yeah, without a doubt, we all had to deal in different ways with this COVID outbreak, and obviously for the international athletes that were gearing up for an Olympic event that was supposed to occur in 2020, really training for that, their whole lives focused on it. Suddenly that was postponed. You had to go back and regroup and move forward. That's a significant challenge. And even within these races, everybody's got a visualization. You got a plan as to how things might play out. But once you're in the moment, it might be a little bit different. And so, being able to adjust and adapt without any sense of panic is something that is incredibly important. And that skill obviously translates into life, because we always find ourselves in situations that we perhaps didn't anticipate. But you can see that these boys are getting locked back on, and this is going to mean that the race will be underway before too long.
All right, so we have Emma Twigg here, Olympic gold medalist and defending Gold Cup champion, and the boys' high school race had a little bit of a delay because one of the athletes had a broken boat and had to swap. What advice would you give him right now if you could?
Well, I'd just say relax. You can only control what you can control, and get out there and start hauling on it, because that's probably the only thing you can do in this situation.
All right, and how are you feeling about your race today?
Well, I should be on the water, but Al's actually holding me up, so no, I'm feeling good and looking forward to it. It's always a great fun day here in Philly, and I can't wait to race some of the best in the world.
All right, well, thanks, Emma, and good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. So we've got all the boys now locked on to the stake boat. Looks like they're setting their oars, getting their points. So Evan, Reed, Sam, and Joseph are going to be on their way in a fast and furious and probably a matter of seconds, and they're off. Nice clean start across the board. The wind has completely died. This is going to be a fantastic race.
And as mentioned before, unlike the time trials, these boys are racing side by side, so they get to see their competitors on their left and right.
It looks like Reed and Sam, both of Brunswick School, are out to an early lead. This might be like another day in practice for them. I imagine they've gotten a lot of sparring opportunities against each other in pieces, but notably that athlete, Reed Eddy, was the one with the broken equipment, so this might be, not only part talent, but part adrenaline from dealing with that little equipment malfunction, but he is neck and neck with his classmate, Sam Subranian.
Yeah, great point, Al. Maybe if this result can hold up for him and he can pull through, maybe he'll actually look for an equipment change on a permanent basis.
Yeah, and it looks like Reed and Sam have separated from Evan Wang and Joseph Savell. There's some open water between them right now, so it is really just Reed Eddy and Sam Subramanian really just leaning into it. Those long strokes, they've settled into their race body right now. Jordan, when do you think they're going to be starting their sprint?
I'm guessing that they're going to start to hear the crowd here in a matter of strokes, and then it's going to be adrenaline to bring them through. But it looks like Sam is really starting to ease ahead here. He's got a nice long stroke, a smooth power application, and is really driving strong towards that finish line. I'm guessing just from looking at it that you've got a little bit of lactic acid buildup in the arms for both of them, but I think that he's going to be able to hang on here as we come into the finish. Let's let him hear it. He's really starting to push away now.
There's less than 20 strokes left in the race here. Every stroke counts. Let's watch these boys fight for that finish line.
This is a beautiful sight here. Sam is looking nice and smooth, nice fall foliage in the background. He's powering home. He's got to be feeling pretty good right about now. Probably 3 more strokes.
Yeah, and Joseph Savell is really taking up the stroke rate and is walking back, but it looks like Reed is going to hold on to second place, but great racing by both of them. And in 4th place is going to be Evan Wang from the Haverford School.
There we go. Let's give them all a round of applause. Well rode, gents.
Oh yeah, they're already on the water. Next is the water.
So now we're going to moving on to the Lotman Challenge for women. Oh, but here's our results. So we can see Sam Submarinium with a win in 2:42.8, followed by Reed Eddy 2:49.4, Joseph Savell 2:51.5, and Evan Wang in 2:55.3. So that was some good racing from all 4 of these guys, and I think that'll be exciting to watch going forward, see how their careers develop. But as saying, the next race we have here is the Lotman Challenge for women, and we've got Lauren O'Connor, Cara Kohler, Veronica Nasasio, and Margaret Fellows.
Yeah, and for the Lotman Challenge, these also are cash prizes. So as a reminder, there is money on the line for these athletes. They will be competing for a first place prize of $8,000. Second place will be receiving $6,000. Third will be receiving $4,000, and fourth will be receiving $2,000. You can see now the camera's focused on Cara Kohler of the Texas Rowing Center. She is no stranger to this course. She has competed both in the Lotman Challenge historically as well as the Gold Cup in 2019, and she represented the U.S. in the World Championships this summer as well as Tokyo in the single. She is also an Olympic bronze medalist from the London game in the U.S. women's quad.
Just before they get started, the Lotman Challenge is named in honor and memory of Herb Lotman, who's an American businessman and philanthropist who single-handedly was responsible for bringing back the Gold Cup Regatta. The Gold Cup Foundation created the Lotman Challenge to further promote and develop single sculling in the United States, and will award prize money to the top American men and women scullers, accumulating the most points over the course of the 3-race series.
And as these ladies fix their point at the stake boats at the start, we have in lane 1 Lauren O'Connor from Orion Rowing, Kara Kohler, as Jordan mentioned, from Texas Rowing Center, Veronica also representing Orion, and Margaret with the Boston Rowing Federation. And it looks like they have just started.
Nice clean start, similar to these other races. You can see these are the high strokes, getting the boat up to speed, getting a bit of inertia going, and then just leaning into it and executing the race plan. Looks like we've got a little bit of wind picking up. If we were at the Masters, I believe they'd say it has freshened a bit. We've got a smidge of a headwind, so but not enough to impact the rowers in any way. I think they're all going to be able to execute their race plans pretty nicely.
Yeah. Lauren seems like she has an early lead, followed actually going in lane order, followed by Kara, Veronica, and then Maggie Fellows. So we'll see as they shift into the body how this shakes out. But you can see Kara is already starting to eat up some of the margin on Lauren.
Very aggressive start from Lauren, really trying to take it, bull by the horns, if you will. Get out front, be able to look across, try to maintain that margin, which is not going to be an easy task given the pedigree of the other scullers in this race. And wow, what a shot! You can see just how close this is among the other three. But so far, Lauren is hanging on.
And Jordan, with the short race course, you can really see the difference that stroke rating can make on just the first half of the course. What advice would you give to athletes as they finish off the second half of this very short race course here?
Yeah, this is where you're always on that fine line. If you think about in your car, you're doing a high RPM, if you will. You're hoping not to blow up, but there really is an advantage if you can sit up tall and not let it become heavy in the hands and just pick it along, which it looks like Lauren's doing a nice job of. She's able to keep that boat speed up with minimal slowdown in between strokes. But, if she's gone out aggressively, this is where she's going to start to feel it, right in these middle strokes. But so far, she's definitely hanging on pretty well. And you can see Kara, much more power, starting to pull away from the other two competitors as we're coming into the finish. This is where we're going to wind up for the sprint.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of water between Lauren and Kara, and then some more water between Kara and Veronica and Maggie right now. But Kara must be working hard. She's keeping that composure. Kara does have that international experience, so she's just staying within her boat. She's slowly starting to make it up, but I'm not sure there's going to be enough room before the line. So it looks like your 2022 Lotman champion is going to be Lauren O'Connor.
And Lauren's across.
And you heard a pretty jubilant noise come out of Lauren O'Connor. Looks like she's happy for that $8,000 payday. Congratulations on a great race, Lauren.
Another fantastic race in this series all day here today. And here we can see the times. Lauren won just a shade under 2 minutes and 54 seconds. Kara second in 2:56.9. You had Margaret Fellows in 3:02.3, and then Veronica following up 3:03.19. So this is a really nice result, competitive race, the kind of thing that we're really excited to see, and really the whole point of bringing this Lotman Challenge into fruition was to highlight scullers, maybe get people a little bit more excited about sculling, so that we can continue to develop that in the collegiate ranks, and as well as eventually feeding into the national team level.
All right, so our next race is going to be noon on the spot with the men's Lotman Challenge, and that race is going to have Elliot Putnam, Chris Carlson, Jacob Plow, and Andrew LaRue.
Again, the Lotman Challenge is U.S. athletes, so we're looking forward to see these 4 athletes come down the course in about 10 minutes time.
And before we start and announce the Lotman men's final, we would like to take a moment of silence to remember John Izzard, a Gold Cup steward who passed away this past September. He is a familiar face to the rowing community. He was one of the first black members of Philadelphia's rowing community and the first black captain of one of its clubs. And importantly, he served as a mentor to countless youth and has had friends too numerous to count. So we will have a moment of silence for John right now.
Thanks for that, Al. And in about 3 minutes, we're going to have the men's competition for the Lotman Challenge. Again, we're going to see Elliot Putnam, Chris Carlson, Jacob Palau, and Andrew LaRue. We're going to see what they can show us on this course. And as you can see, in the meantime, we've had our international athletes all now get out on the water, start their warm-ups, getting ready for the Gold Cup finals. And it looks like we've got all the athletes locked onto the stake boats here, getting ready for this Lotman Challenge for the U.S. men's single scullers. I'd just like to take a break. Elle, do you think you've ever seen the Cooper River looking this lovely?
I have not. I have done a lot of club nationals and IRAs here, and this weather is just a godsend. I think actually every year we've had the Gold Cup, we have had just remarkable weather, and that's something that we've always said with Herb Lotman, who helped bring back the Gold Cup and is also who we honor with the Lotman Challenge. This is weather that he is sending from the big sky up above, so we've always been very fortunate, but today is just pristine conditions.
Absolutely. So we can see the athletes. We've got Elliot Putnam, Chris Carlson, Jacob Plahal, and Andrew LaRue. You can see again a little bit of gust of wind, nothing to write home about, but perhaps that might impact these athletes at different points during the race. But right now, looks like we're getting set to have a nice, fair, and fast race. Everybody's getting their line, loosening the shoulders a little bit, taking a couple more deep breaths, really trying to get within yourself, ready to lay down a nice competitive piece. From the drone's eye view, looks like we're probably moments away from a start here as the scullers are starting to lock their blades in, ready to grab all that water and get that mass up from a dead stop up to an appropriate race pace and cadence for them.
don't really have. All right, so Elliott, Finn Putnam, they're all off to a clean start.
And really a nice high cadence getting it going, and you can see really clean sculling here.
So Jordan, if you had to guess, what do you think they're basing at? Maybe a stroke rate in the high 30s?
I'm going to say high 30s, low 40s. They're really getting it after it, trying not to let the boat slow down. Obviously they couldn't see what happened in the women's race, but Margaret was able to hang on Lauren was able to hang on with a little bit of a higher cadence. Maybe there's a lesson in that for these athletes. But right now, there's not much in it among the four. Look at that. Great racing across the course.
Yeah, it looks like lanes 3 and 4, so Jacob and Andrew are out to just the slightest of margins. All four boats, at least right now, through the first several strokes are all connected, so it's a little bit tighter than the women's race at this point right now, but they've still got a lot of water, but they're starting to come into view for people at the boathouse, so let's start to give them a cheer and bring them home. This is still anyone's game right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be really interesting as we come into the finish. Whose body starts to give out, who's got a little bit extra juice here coming into the finish. But so far, looks like Jacob is starting to establish himself here and push out a little bit. But I think Elliott on the inside might have a little bit more coming into the sprint. But we're going to find out, and this is going to be a close finish.
Yeah, it looks like Jacob maybe has like 3/4 of a length right now. Jacob is currently training with Craftsberry and the Green Racing Project. He's in that position where he gets to see where his other competitors are, so he's just trying to keep that separation.
Yep, absolutely. And you can see he's been able to maintain a bit of a higher cadence throughout this race, and that seems to be paying dividends here as he comes into probably the last 15 strokes or so. Let's let him hear it. This is a great race across all finishing positions.
Yeah, Craftsberry is a great program. They've had some real good success this fall, so it's no surprise that you have the Green Racing Project out in front right now, but leading up a charge is Chris Carlson and Elliott Putnam. And bringing it in home and fourth is Andrew LaRue.
Really great racing by all four men.
And you can really see them hunched over the oars. You can see it may have been 750 meters, but there was a lot of energy expended. They're definitely feeling that. Going to want to paddle it out a little bit before coming in, but well rowed, gentlemen. We can see with our final times here, Jacob just under 2:34. Chris Carlson, well, never mind. Okay. Chris Carlson in there at 2:35.01. Elliott just a smidge behind, 2:35.84. And Andrew LaRue with 2:40.6. So that was a wonderful race. I'm sure these guys are going to see each other perhaps at the Schuylkill tomorrow. But then as they all compete to represent our country on the national level, international level, I'm sure that they're going to see each other in the trials come springtime. Maybe use this race as a little extra motivation for those dark hours of winter training on the ergometer that lie ahead for all of our athletes. So we're coming up on the final races of the day, which is the reason we're all here, the Gold Cup Challenge for men and women, that we're going to kick off with a women's race at approximately 12:15.
And as we wait for these races to start, we do want to take a brief moment of silence to also remember Jim Barker, a Gold Cup board member who passed away in August. He was a force in the rowing world, winning himself 24 national championships for Undine Barge Club. He also actually raced himself in the Gold Cup in the 1950s when it was still on the Schuylkill River. And what he is probably best well known for these days was his coaching legacy with the Haverford School and Undine. He coached scholastic champions, national champions, elite champions. He was a friend, a mentor, a competitor, and a coach who inspired generations of rowers, and he and his relationship with Herb Lotman is really truly why we have brought the Gold Cup back and the spirit of this racing. So we want to take a moment of silence right now to remember and honor his legacy.
Thanks for that, Elle. That was a lovely tribute to Jim. But now we can see that we're getting the international athletes up in the warm-up area. So, Elle, do you want to tell us a little bit about who we're going to see and what the action's going to look like?
Yeah, this is, I feel like we say it every year, but we are being honest and speaking the truth every year. This is a phenomenally fast group of women that we are looking at right now. We have in lane 1 Tara Rigney of Australia, who came in 3rd place at the World Championships this summer. In lane 2 is Caroline Florin of the Netherlands. She won the World Championships this summer. And next to her in lane 3 is Emma Twigg of New Zealand, who is the defending Gold Cup champion, Tokyo Olympic gold medalist, and she placed silver this summer at the World Championships. She also, I'm sure some people on course have met, but her wife Shar and their son Tommy are here cheering mom on, so that will be really nice for Emma. And then in lane 4, we have a bit of a hometown favorite, believe it or not. It is Hannah Scott of Great Britain, who actually rowed for Princeton University, and she graduated in 2021. So she is no stranger to Camden and the Cooper River, and she has that New Jersey hometown crowd pulling for her with some of the Tiger alum here.
Oh, that's a very generous net you've cast to try to get Hannah as a local hero, but I'm sure she'll appreciate it, and she will be happy to have any support she can get. So if we heard Elle properly, we have the 3 medalists from the past World Championship here, which is really an incredible thing. And I'm sure they're looking forward to racing at a nice, high, hard cadence, mainly because the prize money here makes this trip quite worthwhile. So we're seeing the gold medalist here will receive $16,000, $12,000 for silver, $8,000 for bronze, and $4,000 for fourth. So this is a legitimate amount of money that can really make an impact for an international athlete who tends to lead a pretty Spartan lifestyle, because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, there's not a ton of money in rowing. I'd love to say that there's a magic money tree. There's not, but I think that the Gold Cup Foundation is really setting up a unique opportunity for these athletes to continue to train, but also to supplement their lifestyle with a nice cash purse.
Yeah, and this race will be exciting. It concludes a week that they have actually all spent together in Philadelphia. We invite the Gold Cup athletes out a week in advance so they are able to spend time with each other, train with each other. We expose them to a lot of unique Philadelphia experiences definitely doesn't hurt that our baseball team is in the World Series and they took the W in Game 1 last night, and our Eagles are also the top team in the National Football League right now, so it is a great time to be a Philadelphia sports fan, and they picked up on that energy, Jordan, but also the energy of the group this year was definitely high. With both the men and the women, we have a younger crowd. If you think about it, Emma is the more tenured and experienced one of the group at 35, but Caroline is 24, Tara is 23, as is Hannah. So you have a lot of young energy. Those last three women, it was really their first international season in the single. So they are definitely, it's just a lot of new experiences, but they've had loads of fun being able to spend time with each other on and off the water this week.
Yeah, the camaraderie among this group has been fantastic. Fierce competitors, all don't be kidded by that. But at the same time, it's fun to see a personal relationship develop, and we'll see how this unfolds as we move through the rest of this shortened quadrennial, I guess technically a triennial, as we move into the Paris Games. But we can see all the scullers locked on, getting ready to make their way down the course. A couple other interesting tidbits. Caroline, while winning the world championship in the single, actually rode in a coxless 4 at the Tokyo Games and got a single. So that means she's proficient in both sweep and sculling, which is pretty impressive. And she comes from quite a rowing family, with her father having won 2 Olympic golds. Her brother is also an international athlete for the Dutch, and her mother also was an Olympic rower for the Netherlands.
Yeah, and Tara Rigney also has an interesting background. She's quite new to rowing. She only picked it up in 2018, but she was a very elite level netball player in Australia, but she switched sports after she ruptured her ACL twice. So she's had, she's picked this up very quickly and had great success.
We can see just some slight adjustments to keep themselves straight in their lanes, but we should have a start in a matter of moments here.
Yeah, it was interesting this week. Hannah Scott was sharing. Obviously, she was a COVID graduate from Princeton. She was the class of 2021. And she actually said the experience of lockdown allowed her to actually train and make the national team for Great Britain with that time. And these women are off right now. Your Gold Cup women are on the course. Emma got out to a fast start. It looks clean.
You can see her checking her position relative to the other scullers, but really getting after it here. And you can see that looks like Caroline and Emma in the middle 2 lanes are leading the way forward at the moment. We can see those high strokes we've talked about in these other races. I don't anticipate seeing a whole lot of a settle here from these athletes. I think they're going to just maintain it high and hard the whole way down the course.
Yeah, this is very strong. You're not going to see separation from these women. It looks like Emma has maybe a bow ball on Caroline. Very close racing right now with those two. It looks like Caroline might be taking the slightest of a lead right now over Emma, but they look like they are matching each other stroke for stroke.
Yeah, that's a great point. It looks like they've settled into the same rate, and so it's really going to come down to just a little bit of technical difference and a little bit of power, but it looks like they're just back on terms here. Emma's starting to push in a little bit more, but looks like it's going to be a race in the middle 2 lanes between these 2 athletes.
Yeah.
At this nice side view, and they're actually coming into view here of the grandstands, and you can see just how quickly they cover this distance. So let's let them hear it. I love the cowbell out there. Let's really give them something to spur them home. This is going to be an incredible finish between these two. Remember again, this is gold and silver from the 22 World Championships. So I can't say it's a grudge match, but certainly these two are familiar with one another.
Jordan, yeah. And Emma, just it looks like she has the slightest of leads, but it is too close to tell right now. But they both are looking so composed.
I think Emma's actually taking it up a little bit, trying to get a little sprint here into the finish. We probably only have 15, 20 strokes to go. And yes, Emma is definitely pulling ahead here. Let's let them hear it.
Yep, Emma has maybe a deck on Caroline. She's leveraging that experience she has. She's rowing within herself. This is why Emma is the champion. That Tokyo race, her years of experience. This was just a masterclass in racing. As Emma brings it home, she is going to be your back-to-back Gold Cup champion, with Caroline following close in second. And the race for third between Tara and Hannah is still going.
Well rode, fantastic race, and as Elle pointed out, just a real clinic on what wonderful sculling should look like. We'll get the final times here shortly, but as we all saw, is Emma Twigg from New Zealand. Here we go, coming in first in 2:48.7, followed by Caroline in 2:51. Hannah Scott from Great Britain, 2:56.6, and finally Tara Rigney in 2:57.7. So just a fantastic race from these four athletes.
Yeah. Great racing. I'm sure Emma will be happy to see her wife Shar and their son Tommy be able to greet her at the finish line.
And I'm sure she'll be happy to see that first place check as well, Al.
Yeah, I think 16,000 first place prize is not going to hurt. So we have these women coming back to the dock right now. Let's give them a round of applause.
Our final race of the day, the Men's Gold Cup Challenge, will be going off at 12:30, which is about 8 to 9 minutes from now.
I give you?
All right, well, we're getting ready for the men's challenge. It's going to go off in about 7.5 minutes. Just to reiterate again that this is the men's final for the Gold Cup, and the 2022 prize dollars are $16,000 for the winner, $12,000 for silver, $8,000 for bronze, and $4,000 for fourth. Our athletes this time around, we've got Graham Thomas from Great Britain, Ali Zeidler from Germany, Melvin Twillar from the Netherlands, and Kjetil Borch from Norway. Elle, you've spent all week with them. What would you like to tell us?
Yeah, I think before going into the experience with them for the week, it is worth noting that Ali Zeidler is actually in contention for the Triple Challenge. This is the first international rowing series that offers prize money of $50,000 to any rower who places first in 3 marquee single scull events: the Diamond Sculls for the men at the Henley Royal Regatta, the World Championships, and the Gold Cup. Ollie has taken first at Henley, and he won in a wire-to-wire victory at the World Championships. So the big question is whether he can hang on today. And Ollie is someone that at times he can be a little inconsistent. He is still very new to the sport. He only picked it up in 2017 when he pivoted from being an international elite swimmer. But one thing that he has said, he underperformed a little bit at the European Championships this summer, and he said it's actually incredibly beneficial to have his father also serve as his coach, because when Ollie at times may not have the confidence and believing in himself, his father is that steadfast rock and support for him in both the roles as the coach and father. So we really do hope these conditions are Ollie conditions. He likes this weather. It's going to be clean water, so it will be exciting to see what happens. But you also have Kjetil Borch from Norway out in lane 4, who is no stranger to the Gold Cup, has won this before. He is a sprinter. He is built like a sprinter. He has that muscle mass. He would like to ruin Ollie's day, I'm sure, if he could. And he is training. He has been rigging his boat a lot this week. He has a little bit of that reputation amongst the rowers. He is constantly tweaking his boat and his pitch and is looking for perfection. And Kjetil, he was 5th at Worlds this summer. He is the Tokyo 2020 silver medalist in the men's single, but Kjetil did have meniscus surgery in May, so he was doing physical therapy and recovering from that, and then just as his training was underway, he got COVID in August and missed some more time. So he is a little bit behind on the training, but he is confident in the sprint. And then we have Melvin Twillar from the Netherlands, who had a incredible summer himself. He won Europeans. He was on the podium at the World Cups, and he was, giving chase to Ollie in the World Championships. He also actually was a silver medalist in Tokyo, but in the men's double. And then last but certainly not least is Graham Thomas from Great Britain, who is the more older, tenured athlete. He is 33 years old. He raced to bronze at the World Championships. He performed in Tokyo. He's had some great racing, and he is really happy to be here and be excited as he spends time in the single. He historically has raced in the quad for Team GB, but he has really found his form this summer in the single.
Yeah, thanks for that, Elle. That's another race coming up where we have all 3 medalists from the most recent World Championships. So once again, these are the best in the world that we're about to see come down this course in a 750-meter race.
right, it looks like they're locked into their stake boats. They are just, correcting and getting their point and finding their line for the race. But again, in lane 1, we have Graham Thomas of Great Britain. Lane 2, Oliver Zeidler of Germany. Lane 3, Melvin Twellar of the Netherlands. And lane 4, Schittel Borsch of Norway.
This is going to be a bit of a contrast in techniques, given some of the different sizes. Oliver from Germany is about 6'8", isn't that right, Elle? So
That's
he's
right, he is 6'8".
Obviously the tallest competitor that we have here. So the way that he maneuvers the boat, the different angles that he gets with his blades, looks a little bit different from perhaps what we're going to see from some of these other scullers. We've seen in these past races that maintaining a higher rate has been helpful. So it's going to be interesting to see how he marries that leverage and power with the ability to maintain a high rate and spin it down the course. As Al said, Schittel is a bit of a sprint specialist, if you will. So we're going to see perhaps a bit of a contrast in techniques between those two athletes. But the wind is definitely calmed down. I don't feel anything here. Looks like there might be a little on the water, but again, similar to the women's race, nothing in it that's going to really impact the end result. So this should be another really fair, fast race, and I think we're all in for a treat. This race is probably going to get started in the next minute or so. You can see athletes sitting forward at the catch, getting ready to lock the blades in. You're going to look to see them pry that dead weight with the first few strokes, and then just motor away from there as they come up to speed. Wonderful drone footage. You can see just a beautiful day, all locked forward, and it's a fair start, and they're off. Wow, really getting after it. Melvin there in lane 3, fast start. He's really taken this.
Yeah, he popped out very fast. Schittel is at his heels. Ollie had a little bit of a slow start, but you could see he is starting to pull back into it. He usually kind of likes to tap off a little bit conservatively off the line, and then he really opens up, I think, just with that 6'8" frame.
Yes.
He needs the time to get a clean start, but as you can see, they are all connected. Graham Thomas in lane 1. He is about even with Schittel Borsch in second, and Melvin is still just a little bit ahead, but they are coming up. And it looks like Graham is actually making a walk. He is into the lead in lane 1 right now.
Yes, he is. Look at this side-by-side racing. Everybody's about matched in terms of what you're seeing from a stroke rate coming down the course. You can see Ollie there in lane 2, just using that big frame, really prying it through, and he's starting to make his impression felt. Looks like I'd say Melvin still has the lead, but there's not much in it here. This is going to be a fantastic finish.
This is a tight race. There's not even a deck between all 4 of them right now. You're just starting to see them come into view if you are at the boathouse, and it looks like Graham might have the slightest of margins right now, but it is too close to call.
Wow, look at that. Look at that. Ollie powering through as the race goes on, but the question is he going to run out of real estate before the finish line? Melvin really keeping it high, leaning on nicely. Get out of the way, duck. This is going to be a good finish.
Yeah, Melvin was definitely doing a lot of pieces throughout the week. He wanted to make sure he was comfortable at that rate.
And those pieces look to be paying off as he is leading this field home. Let's let him hear it. Let's hear the cowbell.
Yeah, Melvin
this is a
taking
fantastic
control
finish.
Of this race. Yeah.
He sure is. Melvin bringing it home.
Looks like Melvin Twilar of the Netherlands is going to be your clear winner here. He is in control of this, that nice long stroke. Graham Thomas in lane 1 is coming up.
Sure is. Looks like he's got about 3 more strokes. Wow, tight race for silver.
Shedel is in 3rd and Ollie is in 4th.
What a wonderful display, ladies and gentlemen. Let's all give him a round of hand. That was an incredible race.
That was phenomenal racing. Melvin gets to take that name on the cup. He is the Gold Cup champion for 2022, and similar to Emma, he is getting that $16,000 payday. You can hear them congratulating each other on the water. Again, they've been able to spend the week training and spending pretty much all day, every day with each other, so they really do develop a sense of friendship and camaraderie here.
Yeah, for sure. You can hear them out there, and here's our final results. Melvin is our 2022 Gold Cup winner, 233.9. Graham Thomas coming in at 235.4. Jettel Borch 236.1, and Ollie Zeidler in 241.5. Just a fantastic race, and that's what we hope for every year with this Gold Cup.
All right, well, that concludes our racing live stream, I believe. So thank you so much to Jordan Irving and Denise Aquino for being with us.
Thank you, Elle, for getting the band together. It's been fun doing it. I look forward to doing it again next year.
Thank you all for passing the mic. Thank you, Gold Cup.